How about a little gift for Christmas Eve? A Jupiter-Saturn square! Oh, this is what I always wanted. Thank you. Jupiter-Saturn square is coming December 24th, 2024, and it's not the first time. This has happened already once. It happened August 19th, 2024, and then we're going to get one more, and that's June 15th, 2025. So why is this relevant? Well, in 2020, if you remember, there was the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn at 0 degrees Aquarius. It was December 20th, I believe, or 21st, December 21st. And that was the beginning of a new 20-year cycle. And so when we get to these sign points, which are the major aspects of Jupiter and Saturn, it's within that cycle. And so it's part of a story. The initiating Jupiter-Saturn square is a dance between desire and discipline. So we're going to look at the concepts of expansion and restriction to add to the complexity. Jupiter right now is in Gemini, and Jupiter in Gemini is in detriment. It's just like, where am I? What am I doing? There's so much information, and it gets a little overwhelming. Jupiter in Gemini it wants to expand everything and make it bigger and just kind of go all in, optimistic, and have no balance with discernment, because it just wants it all. And then you got Saturn coming in this square from Pisces, which is Jupiter's home turf. Jupiter is in domicile in Pisces, and Saturn's over there going, oh, why are you being so weird? Why are you being so weird, Jupiter, bro? And so Saturn has to do its Saturn job and bring a little bit of reality into the situation. Saturn and Jupiter do this kind of dance in that cycle that we were talking about. This dance that they're doing is related to a song that I want to share with you, which is Let's Dance by David Bowie. Now, on the surface, it starts off with that, so it's like so invigorating right off the top. And it brings you right into the song, and then it's all groovy and let's dance and stuff like that. And it was a really popular song. It got huge. Now, David Bowie did not necessarily expect any of the things that happened. So in the early 1980s, David Bowie was in the mood to try something completely different. Shocking, right? He wanted to do something different. But for so long, he was on the cutting edge of avant-garde music and electronic music, ambient sound, existential themes. But in 1983, he wanted to change things up in a new way and head for a different direction. While he was on vacation in the South Pacific, he brought music along with him to listen to, and the genre that he chose was very R&B. It was artists like James Brown and Albert King. So he was listening to that, and then he was feeling introspective, and he said to himself, why have I chosen this music to bring with me? And he found that it was like really not uptight music. It was a sense of pleasure and happiness that was built into the music, and an enthusiasm and optimism that was built into the recordings. So he kind of wanted to incorporate that into his new music. He wanted to dance, he wanted to move, he wanted to reflect that joy and freedom and not feel encumbered by an intellectual weight that accompanies a lot of his music. Now this led him to Nile Rodgers. Nile Rodgers was a legend of the band Chic, and it was the definition of disco funk. In the New York nightclub they met, and it was already the 80s, so disco or whatever, that whole thing had happened. So Nile Rodgers was looking for a different opportunity too, and he recognized what a huge deal it would be to work with David Bowie, and they would both be breaking from their pasts. Bowie brought Rodgers this demo. It was very folksy, and it would eventually become Let's Dance, but Rodgers was not impressed with it at all. He said, I come from dance, and you can't call the thing that you just played Let's Dance. Is not a dance song, you know? No. He wanted something that was bold and accessible, and a statement that was for the masses. Big chords, big drums, you know, a little bit of a delay. So it was really an integration of Rodgers' themes, Rodgers' style, and his disco funk pop jive thing. The song blew up. Usually he does things on his own. David Bowie is very, he's brilliant, he's a genius. But this collaboration blew up a song that didn't really resonate with David Bowie that much. What was his desire in making this? He wanted to fit in. He wanted to fit in the early 80s. He was kind of tired of being the weirdo. He became very successful, but it was a triumph and a trap in that song. Within Let's Dance, there's a lyric. The lyric goes like this. Let's dance. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. Let's dance to the song they're playing on the radio. Let's sway while color lights up your face. Let's sway through the crowd to an empty space. Well, this is a reference to another artistic masterpiece, which is the 1948 movie The Red Shoes, which is based on Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, also titled The Red Shoes.
Miss Page, what do you want from life? To live?
to dance.
The shoes symbolize a really dangerous pull towards obsession and unchecked ambition, over exuberance, which is Jupiter in Gemini, kind of like that. So in the fairy tale, there's this young girl and she becomes fixated on a pair of red shoes. They're magical. She wants to dance and they make her dance uncontrollably and she can't stop dancing when she puts them on. She ends up dancing to her death because she can't escape the curse. In the film from 1948, Vicky Page is the main character. This is a strikingly beautiful film. It's a ballet film, and she is in love with dance. She just loves it so much. And she has this struggle because she wants to have her career. She wants to dance. She's an artist. She has to express her creativity, but she falls in love with this composer dude. And her career and her ambitions, they don't align with her desire to have this relationship, and so the shoes lead her to a tragic end, much like the girl in the fairy tale. So both stories have this over-optimistic, excessive pursuit over beauty or fame or success, and that can bring challenges when you actually get what you want. It leads to self-destruction and an imbalance. That's the pull of Jupiter, especially Jupiter in detriment. It's about growth and optimism and seeing things bigger and better. But when it's in Gemini, it's like so much information. There's so much information. It's like, oh, short-circuiting. And the shoes in this story seem like they're going to make everything better. And just, I don't want to think about the other stuff. I'm just going to give me these shoes so I can dance and have my dream. Well, if you think about dancing on your toes, I always think about that, ballet dancers. Dancing on your toes excessively is really difficult. It's really hard on your feet. Things go wrong. And if you don't give yourself a break on that pursuit without understanding the limitations of your feet, then that's a reality blinder. That's what happens with Gemini, Jupiter and Gemini in this square. So Saturn over there, I love thinking about Saturn in Pisces because Saturn's just like, can you just give me a break? Why do I always have to do the hard stuff? Why am I the fool to do your dirty work? Anyway, Saturn is a reality check. Once the shoes are on and you give in to this reckless dream desire, Saturn has to step in and force the harsh consequences. The shoes in this story, they symbolized freedom and beauty and success, all the things you want, excess, opulence, the dream. But it turned it into a curse because it pushed these people to dance uncontrollably into disaster. A Jupiter-Saturn square is complex. Let's just go with that. They're the red shoes. It's the, I want to fit in, so I'm going to do this thing that is against my natural creativity. The red flags are there, right? In the end, Let's Dance made David Bowie really uncomfortable. It was something that he never experienced before. That popularity put him in the spotlight, but it took him far away from his artistic freedom. It sort of dampened his creativity. He said, I started appealing to people who bought Phil Collins albums, and that was not good, in his opinion. His foray into mainstream pop made him feel like he boxed himself in creatively, but I like Phil Collins. I like David Bowie too. So this was such a huge hit that it made David Bowie lose his center. And as a side note, his next album, which was really highly anticipated because he did so well, everybody loved Let's Dance. The next one was his nadir. It was his lowest point. It was an album he could barely make it. He just was not into it at all. So Let's Dance 1983, the next album was called Tonight 1984, but it didn't match the success or energy of Let's Dance. So his next move after that was to become the Goblin King in Labyrinth. So he really just was like, I am going in a completely opposite direction. I'm going to go super weird. The red shoes and Let's Dance, they both give us an idea of what this Jupiter-Saturn square tension is like. It's a classic tale of be careful what you wish for, you may get it. So that over-optimism, the over-enthusiasm of Jupiter and Gemini can come to a square with its own home sign of, is your spirit there? Are you feeling like this is actually what you want to do? Or are you just trying to fit in? We can put on the red shoes if we need to. But we also need to learn how to take them off. Give those tired toes a break once in a while. Go take a little break. Overall, it's a potentially tense period, but the tension brings visions on how to move forward in a more healthy and balanced way. I like you just the way you are. I hope you have a beautiful Christmas Eve, and I'll talk to you next time.